Hi, good evening. Today we're going to be reviewing the material from last week about drawing graphics using the ACM graphics library. If you recall from last week, we had drawn this picture. And just to review, this picture sets up a canvas that is 500 by 500. It makes it visible, puts a title on the canvas, and then it draws a house, it draws a sun, and it draws a tree on the scene. So let's take a look at what the picture looks like. Picture P equals new picture. P dot setup. And there's our picture. So the sun's up in the corner, we get a tree next to the house, and then there's the house itself. And if you recall from last time, some of the limitations that we had about our graphics library is we only had rectangles, ovals, and lines. And so to make the roof of the house, we just had to draw two lines. But there was no way for us to fill it in at all because that's all it is just two lines. It's not an enclosed shape. And what I'd like to be able to do is draw a triangle, an actual real triangle on top of this house so that I can give it a color and fill it in. So there's a couple new classes I want to introduce tonight. One of them is called the Polygon or Gpolygon class, and another one is called the Compound or GCompound class. So the Polygon class allows you to create a shape of your own and add vertices to it so that you get, in this case we're going to use 3 vertices to make a triangle. And the GCompound class allows you to add multiple shapes to one single object so that you can use it kind of like a rubber stamp and just go stamp, 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 stamp all over your picture. All right, so let's get started. Let's look at our picture here and let's look at the house. So the house is drawn using 4 steps. One is to draw the body of the house, then draw the roof, draw the door, and draw the window. And we had made each one of those, we had made draw roof and draw door be their own methods, and so that to kind of simplify the drawing of the house. So let's take a look at draw roof, which is where the interesting part is. And the roof is simply 2 lines that go from the lower left-hand corner up to the apex of the roof, and then from the lower right-hand corner up to the apex of the roof. So what we want to do is we want to create a polygon that consists of those 3 points, and then we can fill it in. So I'm going to leave this here for now and use it kind of as a reference, and instead what I'm going to say is G polygon, let's call it roof, equals new G polygon. And when you're creating this object, it needs no additional information to get started. So it's just simply parentheses, parentheses. And now we're going to tell the roof to add a vertex. And the first vertex we're going to add is this one here, the lower left one. Doesn't matter which one you start at, but you need to go in order. So we'll go 150, 250. Actually, I'm sorry. So these coordinates here, 150 and 250, are the screen coordinates. But what we're setting up here is coordinates for the polygon itself. So we really don't want to draw it at 150, 250. We want to draw it kind of in a relative to some 0, 0 point that we decide. So let me switch over to this screen here, and let's say we've got this is our roof right here. So we're going to decide that some spot on this roof is our 0, 0 point. Maybe we could decide that it's here. That's where our 0, 0 point is. We could decide that it's down here. We could actually put the 0, 0 point anywhere we want. I think I kind of want to put it down here in the lower left-hand corner because that'll help me position the roof relative to the body of the house itself. So I'm going to decide that this is the 0, 0 point. And if I recall, the base of this triangle is 200 wide, and the height of it is 100 tall. So my first vertex is going to go at 0, 0. My second vertex is going to go at 100 over and negative 100 up. Okay, remember the y direction goes increases going down. So this is actually going to be a negative point. And then this point over here will be 200 and 0. Let me put in those coordinates. So this is going to be 200 and 0. This is 0 and 0. And this is going to be 100, negative 100. Okay, so those are the vertices of my triangle. So let's switch back here. So we'll add a vertex at 0, 0. Then we'll add one at 100, negative 100. And then we'll add one at 200, comma 0. So those are the three vertices of my triangle. I don't have to go back to 0, 0 again. It will just simply put in those 3 dots, and it will assume that the last edge, the last edge of the triangle fills in the whole thing, or connects the whole thing together. It's called closing the polygon. So now we'll say roof dot set color. Let's make our roof be, what color it could be? Let's make it red. And roof dot set filled true. And now we'll just add it to the canvas. Canvas dot add roof. And if you remember, we set our 0, 0 point down to be this lower left-hand corner, which means that the rest of the house is drawn below it. So all we have to do is put the roof up here at the top left corner of the house, and it should fall right into position. And so let's look at where the house is drawn. The house is drawn, see, where is it? Sorry, I'm scrolling around. The house body, here it is at 150, 250. So the top left corner is at 150, 250. So that's where I want to put the roof. 150, 250, like that. Okay, and then let's comment out these here, because we're not going to draw them with lines anymore. And we'll compile. It says I can't find Gpolygon, so at the top, did I misspell it? Yes, I did. There we go. Ah, good. Okay. Picture p equals new picture p dot setup. And there's our red roof on top of the house. But notice that it's nicely filled in, which is something we couldn't do before. And it is enclosed, and it's colored. So now that we have our polygon, we can do things to it. Like, I think that the roof is a little too tall. So if I want to shorten the roof, I could do a couple things. One is I could change the vertex here. So instead of 100, negative 100, I can make this maybe negative 50. So it's going to be half as high as it was before. Okay, a little bit flatter. But let me put it back. Another thing I could do is I can scale it. I can set scale, and you can pass in two. You can either pass in one number or you can pass in two numbers. If you pass in one number, it'll scale it equally in both dimensions. And if you give it two numbers, it'll scale it in the x direction separately from the y direction. And so what we want to do is we want to squash this thing. So if we go set scale 1.0, so it stays the same width. But if we want to set the y scale to maybe 0.75, now it should be only 3/4 as high as it was before. It's not set scale, I'm sorry, it's just scale. Here we go. And there's our roof, so it should be about 25% shorter than it was before. Okay, so polygons can be made by just constructing an object of type polygon, add vertex for every single one of the vertices you want to do, and you choose where the 0, 0 point is, and then you add all the vertices relative to that point. And then you can set the color, make it filled, and you can scale it if you want. And then just simply add it to your canvas. Okay, so that's the polygon class. Now, remember I said earlier that the ACM library only comes with oval, rectangle, and line, and those were the three basic shapes we were using to construct our picture. But now we have this thing called a polygon, and what we want to do is we want to take that polygon class and we want to make our own shape based upon a polygon. We've kind of done it here, but the problem is that if we want to add another triangle-shaped thing to the picture, we have to make a whole new polygon, add the vertices to it, and then add that to the canvas. What I want to do is I want to create one template for a triangle-shaped thing, and then I can put a whole bunch of them on the picture. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a new class, and let's call it triangle. Okay, class triangle extends Gpolygon. And then up here we have to do our import acm.graphics. Let's do Gpolygon. Okay, and then this compiles just fine. So we haven't really done anything, but what we've got now is a triangle that extends Gpolygon. So this new class can do everything that a Gpolygon can do. In other words, we can add vertices to it, we can set its color, we can make it filled, we can scale it. But let's just make a generic polygon, and let's make it kind of like, well, let's just base it upon the roof. So it's going to be 200 wide, it's going to be 100 tall, and actually let's make it 200 wide and 200 tall. So it's just a nice equilateral triangle, and then we can scale it any way we want to make it fit the shape we want. So we're going to say, let's make a method here called DrawTriangle. And in here, we'll put all the instructions we need to build our triangle. But remember, over here, we were saying add the vertex to the roof. So we were telling the roof, which was a polygon, to add a vertex to itself. Over here, we're in the class that we're defining, so we're going to tell ourselves to add a vertex. We're in the triangle class. It is a Gpolygon, so we're just going to tell ourselves to add a vertex. So we'll say this.add vertex, and we'll put one at 0, 0. Then this.add vertex, and the next one will be at, let's go to the apex, so that'll be at 100, negative 200, so that'll be 100 over and then 200 up. And then one more at 200, 0. Okay, and that's all we're going to do. We're just going to add the vertices. That's it. So compiled, and it compiled with no errors. And then over here, we're going to say triangle roof equals new triangle, and then that's it. And then let's scale this to be, so since the triangle is higher than it was before, we're going to go down to, let's say, 1/3 the height. Let's go 0.33. And now our diagram here looks a little bit different. It says that picture makes use of this triangle class that we've defined. Oh, okay, we don't have our roof, so let's see what happened there. Triangle roof equals new triangle, roof set color, set filled, scaled, and add it. That looks good. Oh, we're missing this here. We need to tell the roof to draw itself. There it is. So there's our roof sitting on top of the house. Okay, so now that we have this kind of basic triangle shape, we can use it to put other triangles in the picture. Like, what can we do? We could maybe, let's see, we could put a little awning over the doorway. So let's go where we draw the door. Draw a door. So now we can say triangle awning equals new triangle. Awning dot draw triangle. And then let's set its color. And maybe that awning will be black. Make it filled, and then we'll add it. Canvas dot add the awning. And now I want to put it above the door, and I know the door is at 190, 350, so we'll go 190 over and maybe 320 to give it a little bit of space. Let's fix our typos. Oh, that's a little big. Okay, so why is that so big? First of all, I think it's in the right spot. It's just that we didn't scale it down so that it's the right size. Door.set, store.scale. And let's see. Well, we got to figure it out. So we know that this was 200 wide. And the door is 60 wide. So how much do we have to scale it by to get from 200 down to 60? How do we figure that out? Do we use a calculator? So if we go 200 divided by 60, we get 0.33333. And what's 1 over that? 1 over 3.33333. 0.3? I think that's right. 0.3. Oh, that was the door. I just scaled the door. Is that what I did? Yeah. This should have been awning. That's silly. Awning and awning. There we go. There. So now it's the right width. It's a little high, and I think there's too much space. So let's maybe make this 340, and then we're going to scale it. Let's see, it's 0.3 in the x direction, and we'll go a scale of 0.2 in the y direction, so it's a little shorter. There we go. So notice now that we've defined this kind of generic triangle, we can use it over and over again in our picture and use it kind of as a template. So we define a triangle, and then we just stamped it all over our picture. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing, and that is I want to take this tree, and instead of drawing the oval and the trunk separately, I want to use this thing called a compound class. It allows me to put the oval and the trunk into the compound class, and then again I can use it kind of like a rubber stamp. I could put a whole bunch of trees all over my picture. So let's find where we have the tree, and let's make a new class. Let's call it tree. So we're going to extend a class called GCompound. And we'll import acm.graphics.star, because I know I'm going to need to use several things, several shapes. And let me just go over here, and I'm going to pull out everything that has to do with the tree. So here it is. Oops, I just quit BlueJ accidentally. All right, where were we? Here we go. There. Okay, so this one defines two colors, a brown for the trunk of the tree, a dark green for the leaves, and then it creates a rectangle for the trunk, and it creates an oval for the leaves, and then it adds it to the canvas. But in this case, I don't want to add it to the canvas. What I want to do is add it to this compound shape. So I'm going to say this dot add. This dot add. I'm going to add the leaves and the trunk to itself. And again, I get to choose where my 0, 0 point is in relation for the tree. So let's switch back over to this again, and let's draw our tree. So here's the trunk of it, and there's the leaves, and I'm going to choose my 0, 0 point to be there. And so that way the tree kind of grows out of the 0, 0 point. Okay, so the trunk is 10 wide and 150 tall. So I want to add the trunk to, well, let's see. Let me switch back over here again. So I know this was 10 wide and 150 tall. So that means that the trunk needs to be added right there at that spot. So that is 0 over and negative 150 up. 0 over negative 150 up. That's this spot right there. And then the leaves, which also are given by their top left corner, the leaves are 100 wide and they're 75 tall. So this point up here must be negative 150 minus 75 again. So this is, what is that, negative 225? And then over here, this is, let's see, I'm sorry, I was distracted by something that appeared on my screen. So this is going to be, let's go up 150, and then, sorry, so we're calculating this direction over here. So it's 100 wide, so it's like negative 50. But the trunk is 10 wide, so actually we're going to go over negative 45, I think. Negative 225, negative 45. I think that's correct. So let's, okay, hang on a sec here. All right, so we're going to add the trunk at 0 and negative 150, and then we're going to add the leaves at negative 225 and negative 45. And I missed something here. Okay, trunk dot set color. Yep, I should be able to do that. Oh, I mean, I need to go import java.802.color. And I'm still unsure why I'm getting an error here. It says identifier expected. So what it's saying here is that it got to this point and it didn't expect to see a parentheses. Okay, I'm staring at this, trying to figure out what this error is telling me, because I'm looking at this going, oh, this looks okay to me. Identifier expected. Set color. Can I set the color of a rectangle? Yes. Is it brown? Yes. And this is dark green. That's okay. I can set it filled. I can add the leaves, add the trunk. I'm really actually not sure. Let's try this. Color. No, I'm getting an error. Okay, I'm a little perplexed here as to what this error is telling me. Let's see, color brown equals new color, color dark green equals new color, grect trunk equals new grect 10. I'm looking for like missing semicolons and things like that. trunk.setColor brown, trunk.setFilled true, add. Let me look back at my original code here for the picture. And where was the tree? Here it is. And this one compiled fine, right? Yes. All right, I'm mystified. I'm going to just copy and paste this again. Copy. Paste. Let's see, does this compile? No, same error. Well, that's odd. ClassTree extends GCompound. That looks fine. I've got imports at the top. Those look fine. Well, I'm sorry, this is creating some pauses here because I did not anticipate this error. This is not something that I've really seen. I know what this error is saying, but I don't know why it's saying that. DrawTree, color, yeah, direct. Oh, okay, I understand now. I forgot to make a method this all goes inside of. So that's what that error is telling me in a kind of a roundabout way. There we go. Okay. And then that was this, and this was 0 and negative 150, and this was negative 225 and negative 45. All right, good. So the problem I had was I didn't put all of this inside of a method called DrawTree. Essentially, I should have copied and pasted this whole thing. So, let's take out this DrawTree entirely. And then we'll go up here. Where does my DrawTree? Where was my DrawTree called? Let me paste that back in. Oops, undo. Sun, awning, door, triangle. Well, let's just put it here. We'll go tree, t equals new tree, and then t dot draw tree, and then canvas dot add t at, let's go maybe 50 over and 450 down. Let's see what it looks like. And we'll take this out. Okay. Picture, p equals new picture, and then p dot setup. Okay, there's our trunk, but we're missing the leaves. All right, so the problem must be here in the tree class. Let's see what's going on here. The leaves are an oval, dark green, set filled. We add the leaves at negative 225 and negative 45. Did I call, let's see, where is my tree? Oh, this should not go in DrawHouse. This should go up here. Here we go. So we make a tree, we tell it to draw itself, and then we add it. Okay, that looks good. So why do we not get our leaves? we're going to add the leaves at -225 and -45. I think that looks okay. There's our trunk. Why do we not have our leaves? And so I added the leaves at -225 and -45. That looks okay. Let's see, canvas add, okay. Let's compile everything. No leaves on there. Okay, I'm sorry I'm switching back and forth, but I'm now trying to figure out why this is not working. Okay, ClassTree extends GCompound, that's correct. Define colors, define the trunk as a rectangle, and then add it to itself. So that looks okay. And then create the leaves, set the color, set the filled, and add them at -225 and -45. Now, oh, whoops, I switched those around. So actually what's happened is the leaves were just drawn completely off the picture because I went way over to the left and I didn't go up high enough. There it is. All right, so there's our tree. Pretty tall tree, but there it is. And now that I've got a tree, I can then put another one in. So let's go tree t2 equals new tree, and then t.drawTree, t2 dot DrawTree, and then canvas.add t2, and let's go for maybe 450 over and 450 down. Okay, so we got a second tree, and just like with the polygon, we can also scale this tree. So we could say t2.scale, and let's make it a little bit smaller, maybe 0.75 as big. There we go, got a little tiny tree. So now I can even add another one. Tree t3 equals new tree, t3.drawTree, and then t3.scale. And let's make that even smaller. Let's go like, let's see, can I make one maybe 60% as big? And then canvas.add t3 at maybe 425 and 450 down. There. So we got kind of a little forest going. Okay, so you see how once you create a class, you can then use it as a template that you can use over and over and over again. So we created a class called a tree, and we made it out of the existing GCompound class. We use the existing methods within GCompound, which are to add a shape to itself. You can kind of think of a compound as a little tiny canvas that you can draw on, and you choose where the 0, 0 point is going to be. And then we just add things to it just like we were adding to the canvas, but we do it all relative to our chosen 0, 0 point. Assuming we get all the coordinates together, we can then use that over and over and over again in our picture, and we can scale it any way we want. What we can't do with the GCompound tree is we can't change its color because the shapes have been added to the compound the way they are. They've been added as green leaves and brown trunk. And so there's no way to say the t3.setColor because it wouldn't know what shapes to apply that color to. But you can do things like scale it, and of course you can scale it independently in the XY direction, so you could scale it horizontally but not vertically, or vice versa. And then once you got it set up the way you want, you just add it to your canvas at the place where you want it to go. And since we chose the bottom left-hand corner of our trunk to be the 0, 0 point, all I got to do is know where I want this tree to grow out of, what point do I want it to grow out of, and then it just draws it up from there. So it's kind of cool. All right, so that's basically how to use the polygon and the compound classes. The important thing, and I guess the takeaway here, is that in all of these examples, the picture and the tree and the triangle, all of them were defined by extending an existing class. So somebody's done a lot of work for us. Somebody's written a lot of Java code for us, and we're just leveraging that. Same thing with the picture. The picture extends JFrame. So our picture is a window, and then we're just adding stuff to the window. So the triangle is a polygon, and we just add vertices to the polygon. And the tree is a compound, and we just add shapes to it. Okay, so pretty soon here, we're going to find out how to make our own classes. One that doesn't extend an existing one that starts from scratch and has only the stuff that we want in it. That's coming up in a week or two. The next thing actually is coming up in the course is how to do some very simple animations. That's probably the subject for another video. And so I think that's going to be about it for tonight. I wanted to show you how to use the polygon class and how to use the compound class. And this should allow you to make some pictures that are a lot more complex, because now you've got kind of a rubber stamp that you can use over and over again in your pictures. Okay, so I think that's it for tonight. What I'll do is I'll wait for a little while and see if anyone's got some questions in the chat. And if I don't hear any questions, then I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Okay, I don't see anything in the chat, so take care, everyone. Bye-bye.